It's about that time. It's about that time to get.
Button your lip. Open your ears. Strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If you're lying, then you must be half stepping. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J back once again for a live show. Get down with us tonight, 804-562-6160. 804-562-6160. You're listening to Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J. You're listening to us on MixLR. We appreciate the love that we are getting. Of course, Global Scale Radio is no more. Global Scale Radio has been retired, and we appreciate all the listeners that we had there, and hopefully they have followed us through our next ventures and journeys that we transition on MixLR. Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J. We appreciate the love that we're getting. I want to go ahead and just kind of jump right into the show. We got a lot to get into tonight. Tonight, of course, unfortunately, I should say, we're missing part of the crew. Big Rube is not with us, and he won't be with us tonight. He's here in spirit, and we're gonna pick on him and talk about him behind his back and all that kind of stuff. But you know, instead of getting into picking on him, I'm gonna go around the room and check in with the crew that we do have in studio. Carlton Banks, of course, is here with us week after week. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. I'm chilling. I'm doing good.
And that's exactly what Ruben says every day. Not much, man. I'm just chilling. Mm-hmm. You know, it's crazy. You sitting in his spot.
I'm sitting in his spot.
You're sitting in his spot, and you're going to take his spot.
That's right.
And you did the little intro with me. I'm
going to love me tonight.
You did. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's starting already. So how you doing, brother?
I am having a ball, man. I got to see my brother twice this month. Got to see my niece and nephew. Got to hang out with them. Big ups to Little Banks. He turned the big up 08 on Friday.
Little Banks is 8 years old.
Yeah, he didn't get to have a good birthday, but he had a decent birthday.
That's good.
Kids at school got him sick. You know, had to run and get him some antibiotics and whatnot. I'm like, man, worst feeling in the world when your kid's sick.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Well, he loved it. He had fun.
I remember when I was talking to you the other day on his birthday, I was checking in on him, and you were telling me he didn't feel good, but he had his. Would you tell me he had his TV?
He had his TV, man, and his games. That's all he needed.
So he was good.
Now I will say this, man. When he woke up, it was Thursday morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, talking about he don't feel good. Like, man, really? Go back to sleep. That's all I can say at that point, because I was just tired.
When it comes to that. So, of course, we're going to continue around the room and check in with the crew. And joining us for his monthly spot, we got Jay Grizzly Green in the room. What's up, brother?
Nothing much, Marcus J. Ain't no half stepping. The mic is up.
There we go. There we go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jay Grizzly Green. Hey, in honor of Black History Month, I am here for the show to be known as El Negro Grizzo. That's what El Negro Grizzo. Callers, when y'all call in, address me as such. If you call me Jay Grizzly, if you call me by my Americanized name, I'm not answering you. In honor of Black History Month, El Negro Grizzo.
El Negro Grizzo. Hey, you didn't roll your tongue.
Oh, I can't do that.
Well, how you going to?
It's something too Rick and Martin-ish about that. I can't do that. I can't do that.
So how you doing, man? It's
I'm
good to
doing
see
great,
you. I ain't
man.
seen you in a little while. You all
Yeah,
right?
I'm doing great. Of course, I'm always looking forward to coming here and shooting the Willy Bobo with you fellas.
Dude, are you cold? I just need to ask you that.
Oh no,
You do have a scarf on.
That
this
scarf
shirt
is
as
tight.
well.
I'm ready to come in and just
Look,
choke 'em.
this is the Euro look, bro.
The Euro look.
You know,
but you El Negro.
Yeah, that's Spanish, man. El Negro Grizzle.
But you just said European look.
Yeah, the Spanish
Well,
is in
Spain
Europe.
is in Europe, man.
Spain
My
is in
bad.
Europe, brother.
You know what? I'm thinking across the border. My bad.
You know what? And plus, see, y'all don't be watching all. Y'all not soccer fans or football fans. Anyway.
Ole. Oh no, I
I'm
know.
on my UEFA Champions League this week, so that's why I got on. I don't know what colors I got on, but
I'm surprised you don't.
yeah, no, this is Chelsea, but I don't like Chelsea.
That's crazy. It's almost.
I don't want to devour Marcus J show by talking about soccer.
It's yeah, because all you're gonna get is this. But
Only person I know is Freddie Adu.
you look crazy as hell with your. It's like a hood ascot.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
and the thing is, it's so thick. It's like, dude, where's your neck? I mean, it's covering your chin up.
Yeah,
and
because I
everything.
got a long neck, so I gotta do what I can fashion wise.
Right.
You know. Can't wait. Don't we have a special guest coming on at 8?
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
We
the
got
comedians.
Well, we got comedian S. Lissa P.
Comedian S, man.
Comedian
I can't
S.
say it
Lissa
right.
P. is going to join us at the top of the hour.
And she got
also,
the fashion sense, so she
and-
gonna let me know if this working or not. She gonna tell me Grizzo, El Negro, Nick, black man, it's not gonna work.
You changed your name already.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually glad you brought that up because also at the top of the hour we got a special interview with the director of the Alex Haley Museum and Interpretive Center in Henning, Tennessee. Miss Beverly Johnson is going to join us. She's a cousin of Alex Haley and also a direct descendant of Chicken George and Kunta Kinte, as seen in the miniseries Roots. So very, very
Not
excited.
Ben Vereen.
Not Ben Vereen, but
Gotcha.
Ben Vereen
Gotcha.
is he played the character of who her great-great-grandfather was in real life.
Because I was gonna ask her some questions about Ben Vereen, but
Well, you might if you want
Rest
to
in
ask
peace,
her.
Ben
I mean,
Vereen. I think it's Ben Vereen somewhere.
we won't have her long. But the last time I met with her, K-Dub and I met her in November when we went to the Alex Haley Museum and Interpretive Center, and she told us some stuff about Ben Vereen. I'm not sure if she's going to want to share the story that she shared with us. It might be a story exclusive to visiting the center,
Right.
and I certainly want to make sure we encourage people to do that. But I'm definitely excited to bring her in. And I mentioned K-Dub a minute ago. Now is about as good a time as any to bring him in to the discussion. What's going on, brother? It's time for the K-Dub report. How you doing, man?
What it is, fellas, and how y'all doing, man? What's good with y'all?
We doing fabulous, man. It's good to talk to you again. And we can get right to it, man. The NBA, we'll talk about the All-Star weekend. We'll talk about the goings on in the first half. But you know what's on the front of our minds? I wish Ruben was here, but he's not. Jerry Buss passed away. What's your initial thoughts on that?
Jerry Buss, man. You know what, man? Anybody that was born in the 70s, and I know we have quite a few of our friends, have Steppin listeners that are Laker fans, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say that if it was not for this man, you probably would not be a Laker fan. Jerry Buss passed away this morning at the age of 80 from a bout with cancer. And Jerry Buss, you know, as much as we say that Magic Johnson was the driver of Showtime, well, Jerry Buss owned the bus. You know, he was the guy. I mean, you know, he's very revered as far as being the owner of the LA Lakers, and he kept that Laker franchise above water for a number of years. And it's kind of sad to see him go. You know, I can't say that, you know, I had any bad words. You know, when I was a young dude before, you know, just watching basketball, the reason why I got interested in basketball was because of the fact that, you know, watching the Lakers play, man, it was enjoyable to watch them play, and him as an owner bring a lot of players to LA. I mean, he drafted Magic. He was a part of, you know, organization drafted Magic Johnson. You had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, Shaq, Kobe Bryant. I mean, I could go on and on and on, you know, the players that were there during his time of owning the Lakers. And, you know, being I'm sure that all Lakers fans are kind of somber today, learning of his passing.
yeah, and Grizzy here, K-Dub. And, you know, one of the things I was hearing in the news that broke out is what what shall become of the Lakers now, being that their ownership had a little bit of, even though it's in-house, with is it Phil Jackson's wife now? Jeannie Buss. Yeah, Phil Jackson's wife and the son, and who decided who to hire who, and hopefully, being that transitions during ownership sometimes take a turn for the worse, and even though the Lakers are 20 and 24, somewhere around there, what's your opinion on how do you think this news today may impact the Lakers one way or the other?
Well, I don't think that the news will impact the team. They may come out in the next game or two kind of inspired, trying to quote-unquote win one for Dr. Buss. But I think that what we've seen over the past few years is a direct result of Jerry Buss not being the hands-on day-to-day individual. Right now, the team is being run, I guess you could say, by Jim Buss, his son. And if you've been keeping up on what's been going on, a lot of the decisions that are being made, the number one Laker, I guess you could say, Magic Johnson, is not necessarily agreeable with a lot of the movements that Jim Buss has made, whether it was the coaching, whether it was bringing in Dwight Howard, bringing in a number of other players. I think that with Jim Buss running the franchise, you'll probably see over the next 2 to 3 years a different Laker team than what we've been accustomed to seeing.
I think one of the things that I've heard about Jerry Buss being a great owner is the fact that he figured out early on to stay the hell out of business that he don't know much about. Right. When you think of great owners, you think of Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys. You think of the Rooney family with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Maras and the Tisches with the Giants. Of course, the Steinbrenners with the Yankees. And unfortunately, there are not a lot of long-standing families or names associated with the National Basketball Association. But for the Buss family, when he purchased the team in 1979, the Lakers was a good team, but since then, how many finals have they gone to? I think it was 15, 16 finals, and they won 10 chips. And since he's had them, I mean, this is a guy who, as you said, Dub, owned a bus that was going through all of that. And
no pun intended.
No pun intended. Yeah, right. I didn't even notice that. Yeah. I didn't even catch it. Yeah, but one of the stories that I heard on the radio, and I heard one of the people associated with the Lakers recap, they talked about how one time when he tried to meddle, he wanted to trade James Worthy to Dallas.
Big James.
He wanted to trade James Worthy to Dallas for Mark Aguirre because Magic wanted Mark Aguirre because they was boys. And the logo? Jerry West said he ain't going for it.
Right.
And
he was GM at the time.
He was GM at the time, and Jerry Buss was smart enough to know, okay, I'm gonna listen to the logo, and he stayed out of it. And that just.
And I'm sorry to cut you up. There's some guys out there that are basketball people, and there's some guys out there that just want to try to keep the organization to make money. And I think that Jerry Buss respected Jerry West to the point that he probably threw it out there. And when Jerry West shot it down, he was like, you know what, you got it.
Yeah, you got it.
A lot of owners nowadays that don't, damn what the GM say. I'm the owner.
Yeah,
Mark Cuban.
Yeah. When you got so much
Isaiah Thomas,
you got so much scratch that you go ahead and say stuff that's crazy and not care about getting fined. I mean, it's crazy about it. But condolences certainly from the crew here. They don't have Steppin, Marcus J, to the Buss family and to the Lakers fans, because I remember how you would think it's the owner, what's the big deal, but when you got a long-standing owner that's been part of the team almost like another fan,
40 years.
Almost like another fan or another player on the team. I remember how sad I was in July of 2010 when we lost George Steinbrenner. I was sad. Like,
he won a lot of championships.
Yeah, but he did. But it was also, he was a figure that had become part of my life, you know what I mean, as a fan of the team. A lot of times people think we crazy, we tripping because we get so into our teams, and we get on Carlton for being a Cowboys fan, and y'all get on me for being Giants fans, and you, Grizzly, of course, being a Steelers fan, but that joint is real to us.
Yeah, it's a lot of Rooney.
It's real to us. It's all in fun. It's all in love. We get on, Carlton about his team and all of that kind of stuff. But we respect the fact that that's his team, and we respect the fact that his owner is the kind of owner who will do whatever it takes.
Exactly.
Whether it, we can question, what he does, but we will never be able to question his motives. And that's the same way.
He wants to win.
He wants to win. It's the same way with the bus.
That trade for Kobe, was it Vlade Divac?
It's Vlade Divac, Vlade Divac.
To Charlotte. I want to say George Lynch. No,
George Lynch.
Yeah.
He was George Lynch.
Lynch, a few other players to get Kobe Bryant.
The rights to Kobe.
I mean, just kind of taking a step back, man. He's owned the team since 1979, and they won 10 championships.
Yeah.
There's some teams that haven't even been to the playoffs 10 times.
Yeah,
right.
I'll put it in perspective again for you. Everything comes back to the Yankees for me. And as great as George Steinbrenner was, he bought the Yankees 6 years earlier, only won 7 titles in his life. You know what I'm saying? As great as those of us who are Yankees fans and the haters think we are, put that in perspective. And also, George did it without a salary cap. Remember, Jerry Buss had to work within a salary cap.
Right.
And every single hot player, particularly the big guys, wanted to play for the Lakers. You had Kareem, you had Shaq, you got Dwight Howard, you got Vlade Divac to a lesser extent. You can say what you want, but Vlade Divac was a baller.
he just
Vlade got a ring.
Size.
Vlade got a ring.
He just Anglo size Vlade Divac. All right, so I put this question to you. I had the question for a second, but who if you had your choice of owners, 2 different sports, of course, would you have a Steinbrenner or would you have a Jerry Buss?
Well, I mean, I got to go with my guy because Steinbrenner is my guy, but I don't think that you could really go wrong with either of them. I think that, and Dub, correct me if I'm wrong, you got your finger on the pulse of the NBA a little bit more than I do. George Steinbrenner was, I guess, kind of more like my own personal, my own personal favorite, my own personality, because he was lovable, but he was surly. And people say that about me, you know what I mean? I have my lovable side, but I'm certainly surly at times, so I can somewhat relate a little bit more to George, and that's just me. Whereas Jerry seemed more like a fan of his own team, which I don't have a problem with that either. Dub?
Jerry Buss he wasn't that hands-on like a George Steinbrenner. Let's say when training camp or for baseball spring training starts, it's a big thing. Everybody, reporters or what have you, they clamored to George Steinbrenner. Whereas Jerry Buss, he was just there. We could sit here as sports fans and think of the many interviews that we've seen George Steinbrenner do, but could we honestly say that we remember anything from Jerry Buss?
Just magic pouring champagne on his head.
Unless you're a staunch Lakers fan, the average basketball fan probably couldn't think of a quote or think of anything. You only really saw Jerry Buss when it was time to get that trophy.
And that was a good thing. I mean, he stayed where he needed to be. He let the team be up front. He didn't have to have the limelight, unlike my coach Jerry. But still, he was there. He was a player's owner or owner's player, however they really say it.
I actually like that. Yeah.
And Magic said it best when he caught the virus. Who I think Magic is now the oldest living man with the virus.
No, there's some dude in Africa that got along.
Really?
I'm sure.
He about 100, ain't he?
Yeah.
All right, but Magic said when he got the virus, the Buss went and tried to get him help. You're like, what doctor do I need to get? Who do I need to get involved in your life? Because he felt that was his son.
Right.
I
heard Magic talking today, and he sounded devastated, which is rightfully so. Grizz?
What's the most hard? This is for everybody here on the panel tonight. What's the most hardest championship to win between basketball and baseball? NFL we'll leave out. We know, we just had the Super Bowl.
Well, I'll take this one first. The question is, what is more difficult, basketball or baseball? I would say probably that's a tough one.
That's a tough one, right?
My natural instinct is to say baseball. I mean, there's
arguments for both sides.
There's arguments for both sides, and I don't think that.
Why are you leaning baseball?
Well, I'm not, because when I said that, I spoke prematurely. At first, I was, but then I thought about it because. The thing with basketball, I'm actually going to go ahead and just jump out on a limb and say basketball is more difficult. I'd say basketball is more difficult because basketball, if you're fortunate enough to have one or two great guys and you put one really good guy with him,
good shooter,
you can run the table in the league. But if you got one great guy and a bunch of good guys,
Right.
you're gonna be out of luck. And and for that, I'll give you Patrick Ewing. I give you Charles Barkley.
Right.
You know, Utah had two great guys in Malone and Stockton, but they couldn't get it done. Whereas the Bulls had one superhuman guy and one great guy in Scotty and a bunch of really good guys. K-Dub, that's a question for you. I mean, I know basketball is your expertise, but I know you know enough about baseball to be able to chime in. What's more difficult to win a chip, basketball or baseball?
I think it might be. I'm gonna go ahead out on a limb, man. Me being the basketball guy, I might say baseball might be harder because, like, I go to you. Just because you have that guy on your team doesn't necessarily mean that you will make it to the championship game, and also taking it just kind of a step further. Whereas basketball, you have 16 teams that make the playoffs. Baseball, up until maybe I'm not sure when they actually expanded it, but for a while, you just only had 4 teams.
Well, I say basketball because if you think about it, if you have a dominant pitcher in baseball, you're not doing anything.
Starting three.
Or a good starting three, right? You're not doing anything. You could be sitting there and
You can play 500 ball till All-Star break. Right. You got 3 good pitchers. You're
good. You're not going to get a lot of activity, as much activity as you will in basketball. Basketball is more of a physical sport than baseball. Unless you're the catcher or the first baseman, your day is very limited in baseball. You may get a shot over the left field wall. You get this hot shot down third base. You get your routine double play. Baseball is not as demanding as basketball. Also, if you brought in a thought aspect, baseball is more of a critical thinker's game because of the simple fact it's a chess match. You have to really play your strengths in baseball. Then you see somebody's weakness and you have to exploit that. Basketball, you're lucky if the ball goes in the hoop. Yeah. I mean, that's just luck.
I disagree with that, but I don't want to take the time to go too far into that because I do want to move on. I'll just say this. I agree 100% that baseball is definitely a chess match. Absolutely. But once you get into the intricacies of basketball, it could get very complicated very, very quickly. I want to go ahead and transition away from this line of conversation and talk a little bit about All-Star Weekend. And we're going to get into that when we come back. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got K-Dub who's going to analyze what he's seen this weekend in the National Basketball Association All-Stars.
El Negro Grueso.